Hey folks, Jim and Leila here for Geeking Out. So this week we're back again with at least 10 comic reviews, I believe.
I have 4.
I have 5, so we got 9. Alright, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start and...
Okay, alright, so first up I reviewed Scarlet Spider #1. So in this
because
one...
everyone was asking for a Scarlet Spider comic.
You know, alright. Let's see. So I actually kind of enjoyed this, but we'll get to that. So in this one, Kane stumbles onto a smuggling ring in Houston, Texas, and so it turns out he was really there to sort of rip off some low-life crooks, but then he rescues a girl from a container of people burned alive.
Always fun.
Yeah, and his plans kind of change. After the events of Spider Island, Kane's body and mind are healed, but can he put his murderous past behind him? I actually thought this was really good work by Yost and Stegman. It's an action-packed story with beautiful art. Some fans might be disappointed that this is a new Scarlet Spider. It's not Ben Reilly, but I'm finding it kind of compelling. Will someone's with Kane's sort of checkered past, and then plus like Peter's power set, will he take on the responsibility of being a real hero, or will he fall kind of short? That's some interesting stuff to play with here. So I actually really enjoyed this book, and I can recommend picking it up. If you're a Spider-Man fan, you're probably going to dig this.
Next up, we have Demon Candy Parallel, Volume 2. And in this one, having made a deal with a succubus queen, Jonathan has to survive 1 year in her mansion in order to get his soul back. But his captors have no intention of letting him go so easily. I love this book. It's one of my favorite online comics. Please go to the link below and read it every single week. It is simply fantastic. I simply adore the art style, and it is a wonderful, more adult BDSM-related style comic, but it's good for pretty much anyone 16 plus. I love the art. I love the story. It's just a lot of fun, and you can't say that too often with a more adult-ranged comic, but this book is a lot of fun, and I always have fun reading it. So if you want to give it a chance, please do. It's simply fun and fantastic.
Okay, next up, we've got Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic War. So in this one, the Republic and the Mandalorians are at war. Almost after,
Not to be confused with midi-chlorians.
Yeah. So almost after a year of fighting, the Jedi have joined the fight, following the charismatic leader, Revan. So they're pledged to be like just advisors, serving aboard Republic vessels, but they really intend to fight, and do. So Jedi-turned-con artist Zane Carrick finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now he's been drafted into fighting a war on the front lines that he has no interest in being a part in. So this was okay. It's marketed as a good place to start for fans of the Old Republic video games, but there's still a lot of backstory that I find is kind of, if I had it, it would be beneficial to know here. Miller does do a decent job of getting the reader up to speed and offers a compelling story about war and choices and morality, which is kind of interesting in a Star Wars book. But overall, it was just okay for me. It wasn't one of the more compelling books out there as far as Star Wars is concerned. If you're, a fan of the video games, you're probably going to enjoy this one. I don't know if you're just a fan of like the comics and the ongoing, mythology of Star Wars, if you're going to be a huge fan of this.
Never really interested me, but that's me.
I gotta say it was just okay. But I did enjoy the art style, and the story was, good pace. So I can say that had some positives about it, and I'm a general Star Wars nerd, so I'm gonna try everything, but I can only say it was just okay.
Always where we differ.
Yeah.
Next up, Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye, #1. In this one, the remains of the spent Matrix help the Autobots discover a star map that apparently leads to Cyber Utopia, the home of the legendary Knights of Cybertron. So, Rodimus forms a team and the search begins, to disastrous results.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the first in the
2 new series.
The 2 new ongoing monthly Transformers series. Yeah, like we really need 2 ongoing Transformers series.
Yeah, I really like the current ongoing.
I enjoyed it as well, but now we have to do this. And following the events of the death of Optimus Prime, because he didn't die.
No.
This is okay. Mm-hmm. I love Roach's art in this.
Yes.
It's simply wonderful. I was a huge fan of Last Stand of the Wreckers a couple years ago, which was fantastic. Probably the best Transformers series of all time, in my personal opinion. But it's been a while since I've actually read a Transformers book.
Mm-hmm. The last page was pretty good.
The last page is hilariously good. Good. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you can understand from my synopsis the disastrous results that I'm going to be talking about.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I will say that. I love Roach's art style. It's simply great. Story-wise, it's a little all over the place, but if you're a Transformers fan, you probably won't care, and you'll probably enjoy it anyway. Be sure to join us probably next week or in the next couple
Robots
weeks
in Disguise.
for Robots in Disguise, because I'm going to review that one too. But for a new series, this isn't half bad start. It's just a little all over the place.
I have a feeling that you might need to read both series to really fit the pieces together, which means you definitely have to buy more Transformers books this month.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so next up I read Wolverine, number 300. Okay, so in this one, a war between the Hand and the Yakuza is brewing in Tokyo, so that means that Wolverine has got to leave the Jean Grey school and return to Japan to set things right. So after a long and
Wolverine, always going to Japan.
Yes, I actually like when he goes to Japan. But anyways, after a long and painful flight, Logan learns that much has changed for his adopted daughter, Amiko Kobayashi. Not only that, the Silver Samurai is dead, and the search is on to find his son. But an old foe of Wolverine's resurfaces to complicate matters. So I thought that Aaron Kubert and there's several artists besides Kubert involved with this, but all of them did a pretty good job to create a pretty big hit here. I really liked this. I think this is really, it could become a classic Wolverine kind of story, especially for fans who love every time that, you know, we go back to the Japan mythology and all that stuff, which I really dig. And I do kind of like Silver Samurai, and I'm interested to see where that whole thing goes. The story was good. The art was beautiful. So, you know, if you want to jump on to Wolverine at this point, this is actually a pretty good jumping on point, too. You know, it puts him where he is in the greater X-Men universe, and then just a completely separate story to do that doesn't have to do with the Jean Grey school. So, I liked it. Pick it up.
Next up, Gold Digger Holiday Special. Nothing much to say about this. This basically just collects the stories that Fred did from the last 4 or 5 years of the Halloween and Xmas specials, so there's really nothing to talk about that I haven't talked about before. It's just basically a small collection of Fred's stories from those particular specials. So if you are unable to get those specials and just want Fred's stories, they're all in here. Pick it up. It's, as always, a lot of fun whenever Fred does something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so last for me is from Dark Horse, Dark Matter number 1. So in this one, a ship floats in space. The crew members awake with no memory of who they are, how they got on board, or what their mission is. Their search for answers triggers a deadly security system who happens to be an android soldier bent on killing them, and that's not the only
Isn't that always the way?
Yeah. So they have to work together to survive and uncover the secrets that are aboard the ship. Okay, so this is a, you know, good if not really familiar premise. Yeah. But, you know, it was a good execution of presenting an interesting story. I did really like the writing. The part that held it back for me was the art. The art sincerely killed it for me. Like, really killed it. Good. There's just no part where I like to look at it.
That's not good at all.
No. You know, and when you're doing a story that, you know, this kind of familiar, I mean, you know, like people are waking up and they have no memory, but I could probably name you 3 sci-fi movies in the last 3 years that have that, or, you know. So we're kind of going on familiar territory here. So I was hoping for a bit more stunning visuals, but the story is interesting. You know, perhaps if they switched artists, I would be a little more interested. But, you know, overall, it's a decent book, and if you're a sci-fi fan, you'll probably like it for that. But you have to really dig story over visual to sort of get past it on this one.
All right, I'm up into my last 2. First up, we have Rachel Rising, number 4. And in this one, a serial killer is on the loose, and she has a striking resemblance to Rachel. But Rachel herself is lying on a table in the local morgue. That is, until she wakes up.
Interesting.
As always, fantastic story, fantastic art. This is one of the best dramatic horror-type stories I've read in a long time. I'm simply adoring it, every single issue. I wish more people will go out and buy this book. It's simply wonderful. As always, Terry Moore's art is simply gorgeous. Yeah, you can't go wrong with this book. It's just simply wonderful. Yeah, it's really dark at times, but it really works, and there's some dark comedic bits in this.
Which you always enjoy.
I always enjoy, yeah. I'm kind of a dark comedian, what can I say? But I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. It's simply fantastic, and yeah, fans are probably going to be like, oh, it's black and white. I don't want to read black and white.
Walking Dead's black and white.
Screw you.
Exactly.
Go buy this book, even if it's in black and white.
Yeah.
It shouldn't matter.
No.
It's simply wonderful. Go buy this book. I love it. And it's only at issue 4, so you have no excuse to try it out. And last, and certainly not least, is Mediterranea number 6. And in this one, Mediterranea is under attack by a mysterious swarm, and Aloncio's nightmares seem to be connected to those mysterious enemies, but no one seems to know how. As always, it's another GG Studios book, so you know the art's going to be gorgeous.
How's the story, though?
Story is okay.
Yeah.
It's starting to get a little muddled as it goes along, but it's still okay. I really like the characters. They're still starting to grow on me. But as always with the GG Studios books, it's translated from Italian, so it's a little off here and there, but I can forgive it for that. It's still a lot of fun to read, and I quite enjoy the series thus far, so I'm looking forward to the last 6 issues of this book, so it's not a bad series. If you like some stuff like Fathom or stuff from Aspen, you'll probably really like this. Stylistically, it's very similar, so I quite enjoyed it. Check it out if you get a chance. I liked it. And be sure to join us next week for another fun episode of Geeking Out.